episode. Thank you for your engagement, for your feedback. I just appreciate everybody, man. Like taking their time out to watch the podcast, leave comments. I've had a lot of positive DMs. Like it's overwhelming, but as long as the message is being heard, I'm kind of happy. Today, just touch on a little bit of focus, you know. Growing up, I had everything, you know. Good parents, brothers, lovely family. You know, we're from a Nigerian household, so, you know, everything is everything, you know. Even if you have nothing, you know, your family will make sure you have everything, you know. Just being around everybody all the time, it was just a beautiful thing, man. You know, like, you could just focus on the things that you needed in life, you know. Mum was always there. Christmas, all the uncles and aunties and everyone came around. So it was always a nice time, you know. Then as you get older, you open your front door and you take that first step left and you realize, like, the definition of focus becomes a little bit different now. Now we're focusing on what is good for us according to our friends, the environment that we're outside, you know, what it takes to be that certain guy. You know, the focus completely changes and then you could kind of get lost. And being frank has taught me a valuable lesson. You know, I went from a young man, innocent man, living like just a standard life, you know, parents did what they could for me, to somebody I didn't even know. Be honest, like for years I was just walking around just as a stranger to myself. I didn't really know myself. I wasn't focused. I just wanted to be that guy, you know, out there with my friends, just finding ourselves in situations that I never grew with, you know, to get into fights. And like, I used to, me as a kid, I used to love fighting. It's like something possessed me. I just like to fight. And I'm not talking about just fighting one or two people. I used to just fight. Like, I didn't have no fear, which is stupid because I found myself in situations sometimes like I'm fighting 4 or 5 people and like I had this buzz and I'm thinking to myself like, what's wrong with, I used to think, nah, when I sit down and look at myself, I used to think, nah, what's wrong with this guy, bro? Like, there's no sense. People are literally dying for the same thing that you're doing, bro. And I used to think like, back then it's like, I was so focused on just being that guy and wanting to be the strongest, and like, you kind of lose touch of reality, you know. And I'm sitting here and like, all my friends I used to knock about with as well. I realized when you focus on trying to be that guy that much, they kind of lure you in more. You know, they put you in situations because you're so focused on being that guy and ready to fight the situations. You realize that your whole life you have to play Superman. You never get a chance to play Clark. Just be relaxed and everything. My whole life I was always on my toes. You know, always on my toes. If I went out with my friends, I knew at some point I'm gonna have to fight. I knew, so I always used to go out in trainers, and I very rarely drunk. Very rarely, because I knew there could be a situation, and I always have to put myself in. And like back then, I didn't see anything wrong with it. You know, getting a little black eye, a little cut here and there. I thought, you know, as long as you got home, it was a good day's work. You know, but then like, people dropped off. You see people, one person dropping off, you hear another one dropping off, and you think to yourself like, bruh, these people are dropping off for less than what I did. and it makes you sit down and evaluate yourself. But for me, it made me even more want to do more, because the thing is, I just saw myself then, whoa, boy, look, you're built for this. So the more I was doing, the more I was doing damage to the future me. And I didn't even realize that. You know, because what we don't get is that journey that we go through as young kids hinders the footsteps when we're older. You know, because we restrict a lot of things that we can do because of that lack of focus during that era. You know, and then when you get older and you want to change your life now, you realize how much damage you've really done. But when you're in that era, in the midst of it all, it's all just like, it's like business. I used to go and do certain jobs for people. You know, elders used to call me and say, "Yeah, Frank, I need you to do this. I need to do that." For me, I didn't really care. It was business. Do you know? When you don't have money to have that money to buy the trainers that I wanted, that I saw my man wearing out there, and I could get it for free just for throwing one or two punches, it was nothing for me. It was a no-brainer. And like, then I got into a different kind of world, like certain things you had to do, carry out certain things, and I'm thinking to myself like, bruh. And I sit down and think through life now. The guy I am now would be scared of the Frank that I was before, because he didn't have no heart. He didn't have no heart. I could happily do what I was doing, come in, sit in my mother's house, and just talk to them like it's normal. It's like, it doesn't even make sense, because even when mum would tell me off or because I'm doing this, or she's hearing bad stuff on the road, like, yeah, I did it. Even looking at my mum with the tears flowing down her eyes, it just didn't change me. It didn't change me. I was someone different. I was someone different. My mum held me for 9 months. For 9 months, named me, done everything for me, raised me up, taught me how to walk, taught me how to do this. And like, her teardrops didn't faze me. Her teardrops didn't faze me. After everything she'd done for me, it didn't faze me. And I'm saying, like, when you're in the street game, like, your focus is not on your family. Let's get it right now. It's not on your family. So the thing is, as much as I loved them, I didn't love them, because the thing is, I was doing what I was doing, which had an impact on the family. You know, I cared more about what my friends thought or having my friends back than actually looking after my family. And when I'm talking about looking after families, that putting some respect on their name. Because my mum and dad planned me, but they didn't plan for the man that I was growing up. You know? Like, I got myself into all kinds of messes, you know? In my area, in my old area, I used to just fight all the time. Fight. You know? Anybody's in a situation, I was happy to be like the first number called. You know? It just, like, I'm sitting down, I really didn't know myself. And like, sitting here, I'm not even ashamed of being that guy. But the thing is, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all take that left when it should have been a right, you know? But sometimes them lefts, if you make it back, it can teach you a beautiful story that you can pass on to your family. But it's not always about taking that left. But I had to take that left to get to where I am today. Because I was mischievous. You know, Mum taught me about God and that God will help us, God will do this for us, God will do that. But when you're sitting down in a house and there's a lot of suffering around, and Mum was always assuring me that God was going to make it happen, and I don't see nothing happen, it was hard for me to believe in God, I'll be honest with you. So I had to put my shoes on and go and do work. I had to provide, even though mum never accepted it, but I had to do what I had to do, you know. And it's not a justification. It's just that I was so focused on trying to be a solution that I lost focus of what I was actually doing. You know, I lost focus of what I was doing. You know, like, I loved my brothers. You know, I'll do anything for them. I made sure that growing up, they were nice. No one touched my brothers. They were nice. They did well. They had their little issues as well, but I was always there to like clean up if it needed to be cleaning up. But do you realise like how much you're affecting them by living the life I was living is when they start like having that little resentment towards me. Like, do you know, conversations started to get more scarce, do you know? They only used to call me at times when, you know, if you're in trouble or needed that. And like the innocent conversation we used to have about football and things that were shared amongst them. And I realised I've isolated myself because the thing is they can no longer relate to me. Mum and dad couldn't relate to me because I was not hearing nothing. Try have a conversation with a brick wall and see how much feedback you get from it. That's how I was. You know, there's nothing I didn't hold. You know, not proudly saying that I'm ashamed of it. Because when stuff happened now, I got banned. I couldn't even go to North London, banned from North London, banned from E1 to E17. I'm banned from even where my kids live. Imagine you're not even allowed in the area where your kids live. I have to stay in my mother's house. As a big man, I'm on tag in my mother's house. You know? Like, that bad. They even took my passport away from me. I can't fly for 10 years. Like, I made a mess of my life. And I realised, like, that was some expensive steps that I took, you know? For them shoes, for that chain, for that watch. Like, I nearly lost my life on many occasions. And like, I thank God to this day that I'm still here. Like, my body, my mum never gave birth to me with all these scars I've got on my body right now. You know, like, it's horrible to see. You know, they're reminders that how lucky I am. But to my mum, they're constant reminders of the day she nearly lost her son. So every time she looks at me, she gives thanks to God because her son's still here. You know? 15 years ago, my mum could have been, you know, visit me, talking to me in the cemetery. How fair is that? When my mother gave life to me, but I chose to put myself in the cemetery because of that left turn or being that guy or not being focused. I'm running with the focus that the streets taught me instead of the focus that my parents taught me. And that focus that my parents taught me is survival. Teach me how to be a man. Teach me the things that we need to learn that you can't learn out in the streets. The streets teach you how to survive because that's all you got to do. You got to survive. But they don't teach you the fundamentals. How to pay bills, how to live, how to get a job, how to make a CV, how to do invest. They don't teach you these things. We invest in the wrong things because of that lack of focus. We make money and we feel like we've achieved everything in life. But that money comes at a price because someone in your family is not happy. Someone in your family has definitely shed some tears. Someone in your family is scared that you go out. Because that's how my family lived. for many years. My mum used to phone me and ask me, how am I? Are you okay, son? And I'm thinking to myself, like, Mum, I'm okay. Even to this day, I live a good life, and I've been living a good life for 12 plus years now. But my mum will still phone me in to see if I'm all right, because when you put them through a lot, yeah, they're always going to worry. Because you can't correct your past with just a few days in the present. You know? So, I'm not saying that I'm the perfect guy, because I get everybody that's out there. And I always say, like, everybody has their reasons for being out there. But you just got to think about the consequences of everything you're doing. And that focus, we focus so much on clothes and all the material things in life. But these material things are the reason why loads of people are losing their lives. People are literally killing you for watches. They're killing you for your chains. So it's like you're walking around with your funeral payments on your body. You know, the chain is paying for a funeral. The watch is paying for a funeral, because people are literally taking your life. You buy these things for yourself. Somebody will take it for you to put it on someone else's shelf. Like, life. What we value today is shocking. We need to get more focused in life, man. Seriously. Like, when I sit down and I think about my life, yeah, I have so many regrets. Not at the man I am today, because the past taught me a valuable lesson, but I'm just thinking, like, myself, like, some of the people, like, I could have been helping. I was in a position to help growing up. And I just sent them down the wrong path with me. Because you don't realise, when we're walking these streets, we open up doors, yeah? And there's a lot of people that are idolising us, are sitting there in the background just watching us. So every step they take, they're copying. They're learning it, rehearsing it, so they can do the same steps. So before you know, you've got a whole generation of people following your footsteps. Now, when I sit down and I see, like, some people today, these kids of today, and I'm thinking to myself, wow. I see kids, like, out there in gangs. I see kids drinking. Taking drugs. I see this, and I'm thinking to myself, wow. Flashback to like 50, 20, 25 years ago. You know, that could have been me. That could have been me, that same little kid there doing what they're doing today. So that I get what you're doing. I get what you're doing, but the thing is, you need to love yourself more. Because the thing is, people will not trust me, listen to what I'm saying to you. People don't care enough about your life. You got to get this. So you have to really focus on what you have. Because your 24 hours is only for you. It's not for anybody else. Nobody benefits from your 24 hours. Do you understand? When God gives you 24 hours to live, yeah, that's your 24 hours. Because nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. So you have to do it 24 hours by 24. So you make the most of your 24 hours. Focus on what you really want. Don't focus on what benefits somebody else. You have to focus on what you really want. And that's what I didn't do. I put the pain of mum, the lack of in the house, and my own ego and what I wanted as the focus in that whole destructional journey growing up. Like, I remember there was a time, right? I remember this. There was a time when I'd gone out somewhere with one of my pals, and like, there was a little situation, and like, my pal, he was a good guy, but the thing is, he always felt extra powerful when I was around. Yeah. So he used to just drink and he'd just go madness. So we getting into fights, and I remember I got cut just underneath my eyebrow here. Yeah. And like fighting, didn't even realise I got cut. But when I came out of the dance, got in the cab, just going home and realised, and I'm sitting in the cab and I'm realising like this eye I couldn't really see properly because blood was just dripping in my eye. And I've wiped my eye and I've realised that I was bleeding because, you know, the adrenaline, it puts you somewhere else. You know, you're not really feeling nothing. So we went to the hospital and I got stitched up. And the doctor said to me, what happened? I said, I fell over. He said to me, whoa, whatever you fell over onto was very sharp indeed. And like, if you didn't blink, you would have probably lost your eye today. And like, back then, for me, I had stitches, a scar. It was like, yeah, I survived, didn't it? Because the more scars you had, the more like invincible I thought I was. And what you don't understand in this life, when you create that mindset around you, somebody out there is going to test you. Somebody's always waiting to test you. You know? And like, I got many tests growing up. I thank, by the grace of God, I'm still here today. But I've paid a heavy price for it. You know? Heavy price. Scars everywhere. Certain injuries that I've got in my legs and that. Like, I'm thinking to myself, for what reason? And I'm seeing kids like, you're prepared to kill yourself. You're prepared to get shot just for what reason? You know? This lack of focus, man. Like, you're focusing on the wrong things. Your life, it doesn't mean nothing to you. You trust your knife more than you trust yourself with your own life. You trust your gun more than you trust yourself with your own life. But what you got to understand is, the same thing that you put your trust into can take your own life as well. You know, every day you walk in the streets, you're focusing on making sure you don't see the opposition, your enemies, that one. You can't focus on just being a kid. You can't focus on just being better, because you'll have to focus on everything that your mother never taught you, that your father never taught you. Even the stuff that you know that is better for you. You can't focus on these things because you create such a mess in your life that your whole focus has to be on survival. When you're out, you can't even go to the shopping piece. I couldn't even go to the shop. If my mum used to send me to the shop, I couldn't go to the shop. 17-year-old, I wasn't going local shops. I was going shops a bit further up the road because I knew down the road I just wasn't in the mood to fight today, and I've got milk and all that to get home. But my focus was so stupid, I'll happily go to this shop, drop mum's stuff, and then I'll happily go back to the shop because my mindset was stupid. I didn't value myself. You know? Mum and dad and my brothers are all sitting out there. It's like they're holding my life in their hands. The love that they had for me, like a child, the love that they had for me, I didn't have it for myself. I was prepared to gamble with everything just for them little things. And when I sit here today, the watches, the chains and all that I used to got cut up and stabbed up and for, I don't even want none of them. I don't even want none of them no more. Because these things, they just remind me of the stupidness that I was doing. You know? Like, a watch doesn't define you. If I've got 10 grand to waste on a watch, I've got 10 grand to put in an investment. I've got kids now. You know? Invest in their future. You know? I may have messed up a proportion of my life, but they don't have to mess up theirs. So, you know? You can only correct your foot. I'll correct my footsteps by making sure that their footsteps walk correct. Like, you see me, I got a love for all you kids out there. Don't make it, don't feel like I'm just trying to make you feel that you're doing wrong, because I get you. I get you, because there was a time I was out there as well, but the thing is, the bigger picture is I'm not there no more, and I'm 44 years of age. So the years I wasted out there were just wasted. They're on my CV, but they mean nothing because they can't get me no job. They can't help me. Do you know how blacklisted I was? Nobody wanted to touch me. Nobody wanted to touch me. I couldn't even get a job. Even though you change your life around, you haven't changed your life around in the eyes of the witnesses that saw what you're doing. The neighborhood that saw you, the community that saw you doing badness. You can never change in their eyes. No matter how many suits you put on, no matter how sharp your shoes are, you know, they don't care. They only remember what you left scarred in their heads. So remember this. When you're out there doing what you're doing, you know, you might not get the opportunity. When you want to change your life around, if you go too deep, you might not get the opportunity to come back and be able to sit down and think about better things. So, like, if you're feeling like you need to step. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. I'm enjoying my life now, but I've enjoyed like 15 years of like 45 years. I can't really say I enjoyed the 20 to 30 years before, because I was doing nonsense. And like, I'm not one for glamorizing that my past, because my past never made me. It just taught me how to be better and how to embrace the real Frank, because this Frank was hiding inside that old Frank. He was hiding inside that old Frank. You know, my mum made me this man that I am today, but I hid it from her for so many years. I hid it from her. You know, all because I wanted everything. Yeah? It wasn't enough what they could provide for me. It wasn't enough what the little paper round could provide for me. I wanted everything. I watched TV, Young Jeezy, all these people, they got, I want this. They've got hats, I want this. They got trainers, I want this. But I'm sitting there and realizing, like, right. But these lot are earning their money for doing a profession. It's still music is still a profession. I'm earning my money doing nonsense, risking my life without the profession. So these musicians, yes, some of them have lived that life, but a lot of them haven't. But they tell you what you need to be heard, but to sell records. Do you understand? But you got to understand, they're getting paid to stay in the studio. We're getting paid to risk our lives. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. They go home with a paycheck. We go home. We just about go home. Some of us don't even go home. You know, we got to put some real respect on our lives, man. We got to put some real respect on our life, man. Trust me. And just today, like, overcoming everything I've overcome, just, it's given me a new, like a new sense of life, you know. I've been reborn again. You know, my focus is different now. You know, like, I got my kids. I just want my kids to do well. family, everybody that supports me. I'm just for them. You know, it's about just elevating. You know, I can't reiterate how important it is to stay focused in life, man. I've lost so many years that, it hurts, I'm a man, like, I'm as big as I am, like, I don't sleep. I've been through so much in life, I just don't sleep. I'm scared of sleeping. I'm scared of sleeping. I saw so much death growing up. As a grown man, I'm saying it now, I'm scared of sleeping. I don't sleep. What I do, I put the TV on and fall asleep. I fall asleep because, you know, death is not a nice place. We're all gonna go someday, but when you see it from young ages, it's like it's kind of scarred me. It scarred me. So, like, even to this day, I'm not even in the game. Like, it's gonna be my 13th anniversary. Woohoo! Yeah, I still struggle with sleep. You know, I used to, like, when I remember I used to go to sleep and I constantly sweating, and it felt like, some people, they sweat because they're hot, but I was sweating because I was underwater and I was just trying to find air and I couldn't find air, and I would always wake up and like waking up was like, yes, I got my oxygen. I was so happy to wake up because I know I'm alive. I've made it. Like, imagine going to sleep and just pray that you wake up. You can't even just have, because you're tired, you want to go to sleep. I couldn't do that. I can't even do that. I have to fall asleep unknowingly. Otherwise, subconsciously, I'm not going to let myself sleep because I'm scared of sleep. We don't even realize the impacts it has on our lives. I'm not ashamed to say, yeah, like, I suffer with little bits of it. Because you do. When you go through so much in life, like, whether it's you directly or just experiences, seeing certain things, like, it scars your life. Some people, they can deal with it. And, like, they're a lot stronger than me, because growing up for 30 years, I had a black heart. I didn't even care. I saw so many things. It didn't affect me because my focus was on the wrong thing. You see, when you focus on being you and living your life and actually valuing yourself, you see them emotions that you've been hiding so much in your life, yeah? They start to come to the surface. I never believed in crying growing up. Like, crying was a form of weakness. And just being here today, like, it's a lot for me. It's a lot for me because I never thought I'd get past 21, to be honest. It's like, I wasn't the worst, but I wasn't the best, Like, I just put myself in situations that I shouldn't have been in, and I'm just lucky that I was able to look after myself and get myself out of situations, Like, I'm just sitting here, just imagine, like, my mum around my grave, my brothers, my kids. I'm like, hey, can you imagine? My kids would never have got to see this man that I am today. They've never got to experience their dad on the right side. Fortunately enough, like, all my madness wasn't, like, it wasn't during their time, but even when I think about, like, it that deep, only my older one was alive, but when I think about it that deep, I may not even, the other 3 kids I have, I wouldn't even have had them. So I'd never have got to meet my beautiful kids. Just because my focus was in the wrong place. They say time is a healer. But time is limited. What if it doesn't get to heal you? Because I'm 44. I'm not fully healed yet. I smile. Probably got the loudest laugh in Europe. But I walk with a lot of pain. I walk with a lot of pain. A lot of friends, you know, I lost, like, I reflect sometimes. I think like life could have been just different, you know. I'm a personal trainer now. I work with kids. I sit down. I'm thinking a couple of my friends that I lost. Maybe they could have done the same kind of route, or because I know they were always into gym, but like not even here for me to ask. And I'm not the only one from the world, or even young kids. You've lost friends that, you know, you wish you could have that conversation with again, and just probably would have just told them to just, you know, focus on other things, you know. Because when we grew up and we're running around, none of us are really focused on anything really, but making that money and getting home. You don't really care about your brothers. I'll be honest with you, you don't. Because we know being out there is a big time risk, but we're prepared to drag our brothers involved, our boys involved. Do you know? And then when things go wrong, we sit there and we're upset. Like, I've got a lot of my friends that have passed now. I'm like uncles to their kids. And during the early stages, I used to go to the house and say sorry to the mum, sorry for your loss. The kids come and hug me, Uncle Frank. And I'm like, if you knew that I was encouraging your dad to be that guy, would you still be calling me uncle? Because that's what I was, though. When you're in a gang or you're in your circle, you encourage each other to keep doing your badness because nobody's saying stop. But you got to look at it like that. If that kid knew I own just, even if it's just 3% of his father's body, would he be calling me uncle? It's deep. This is why focus is important, because everybody out there, everybody that's dropped on them streets, the friends of that body, you all own a percentage of that body there because none of you told him to come out. So when you're sitting there at the funeral, like I had to sit at many funerals, that's why I don't go to funerals no more. Because I've been to too many, I just can't do it no more. Like, I'm sitting there looking at a body when, like, 2 days ago we may have been just walking around, just vibing and just chatting. Imagine your best friend used to chat, spend hours and hours on the phone, laughing, joking. You know, cracking joke, just getting up to madness, you know? I could go to his house, yeah, his mum was my mum was his mum, my brothers are his brothers. Imagine him now. I can't speak to him on the phone. It's strictly FaceTime now at the cemetery. Face to face. The FaceTime at the cemetery. Talking to a stone, you know, like, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Do I say sorry? It's been how many years now? You know, your son's 16. You missed his 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th birthday. You know? I don't even know what to say. Because it's a lot. Because your absence is felt in that kid's eyes every time I see him. And he's a big man, and like, you could see it even more. And that's just one of many that I have. Because we focus on the wrong things in life. We don't focus on the damage that's been done. We don't focus on the families that are left behind, you know? I can't correct what's happened, and like sometimes I've like, not in a selfish way, I thank God that I'm still here. Because I can, you know, probably make a change for my brethren that are not here. But just think about that. You gotta be very mindful, man. Focus. Like, it's a horrible thought to have, you know. Imagine, like, because we focus on the wrong things, like, we're not there to help our kids, or we're not there for your mums or your missus or anything like that, just because we wanted a jacket, just because we wanted a chain, just because we wanted to meet up with a crackhead. It's deep, bro. And when I sit down and think about these things, like, we prepared to do a lot for the shittest of things at the biggest of prices. At the biggest of prices. Like, I hear on the news people killing each other for watches and this, and I'm thinking to myself, rah, that's a lot, you know. You focused on that watch, that you took somebody else's life, and now you've taken your own life, because taking someone's life is only, you've just gone and messed up your own life now, because everybody that was dependent on you can no longer depend on you. So 2 lives are gone for 1 watch. I sit down and I just think to myself, you know what, I'm just lucky, man. And like, I just want these people out here, whether it's the youth or the elders that are still battling with, you know, what step to take next, just to sit down and think about your lives, man. You woke up this morning, like, it was not by chance. You know, some of us, you think to yourself, you're even lucky. You're even asking yourself, rah, I'm surprised I even woke up, because there's a lot of good people in the grave who have done none of this shit that we're doing, or have done, and they're not here today. And the pain that has been left behind in their household is horrible. And then there's other families where they're going through the same thing, but their pain has been caused by maybe things that people have done. Do you know? You've all got friends where, like, their mums are not happy no more. The mums are incomplete. They focus so much on their kids, trying to raise the right men for us to put the respect on the street. How much do we love our mums when we're making them cry? How much do we love our dads when we're making them cry? How much do we love our own kids when we risk everything? You know, the kids doesn't care whether we got the latest chain. They just want a hug. Mum just wants to know you're safe. Dad just wants you to be a man and work and be better than he was. You know, we take too many chances. We take too many chances. It's a lack of focus. So that focus really, trust me, it really does a lot for you. It took me years to get out of the game. It's not because I couldn't, it's because I was just fucking lost in it. It's like a drug, you know. Sometimes you just, you know, you don't even realize you're just so deep in it. Like being in it just seems like the norm, and what everybody else is doing is just like regular. It's not normal. There's no fun in it. You take fun in people's destructions. You take fun in destroying your own life. That just being normal doesn't seem normal anymore. Countless nights I've just about got home, and I used to sit there and laugh about it. Like, yeah, with my brethren, yeah, man. Boy, it was lucky we got home, you know. I thought that was it. And like, we used to sit there and laugh about it, but it's not funny. It's not funny. There's nothing funny, because that laughter could have been tears for my parents, could have been tears for everybody that loved me, for all my brothers. It could have been tears for everybody. But we used to sit down and think like, yeah, we made it out, you know. Oh, yeah, we just about made it. Oh, you get in a fight and you whacking somebody and you're just thinking, yeah, it's great. But remember this, when we fight with people, the minute you can get out, you get out. We're not thinking about the consequences of that person. We don't even know if they've gone home and they've gone to sleep and not got up again. So now our life is now put in the person's hands, whether they wake up or not. Like, we're taking our own futures and putting them in other people's hands when we do this rubbish. Because every time we go out there with the wrong focus, you don't own yourself. Because at any point it goes wrong, the prison service is going to own you. Or the graveyard is going to own you. You don't own yourself. You see, when you focus on yourself, yes, you're still going to meet the graveyard at some stage of your life. But the thing is, you can correct the steps that you need to correct and create a legacy for yourself. You can create a future, you know? You've lived so much in the past, you know? Just moonwalking through life, going backwards, you know? That you focus on yourself today. You can introduce the present to the future. Let them get to know each other, you know? Make something, you know, that you can sit down and say, you know what? No matter how bad I was, I did get the time to fix up and change a few things. You know? My mum's eyes have been like a desert for the past almost coming up to almost 8 years now. Before it was like a tsunami. To the point, like, she loved me so much, she couldn't have me around her. Because less tears used to flow when I'm not around. Less thoughts, less stress. I don't blame her. I blame myself, because that's my mum. It's not my brethren's mum. It's not his mum or her mum. It's my mum. So although we do things as a collective, it was my mum who was feeling the pain for me. My brethren's mum never felt no pain for me. And vice versa. So we got to be thinking about what we're doing. As friends, are we encouraging our friends to stay in the game? Are we encouraging them to do this madness? A group of people pushing for that positive message. is a powerful movement. A group of people pushing that negativity on each other. It's just a whole stack of funeral payments. Listen to what I'm saying to you, because you're pushing yourself towards that finishing line. You're pushing yourself towards that early grave. You're pushing yourself towards the life sentence. And either way, your life's gone. You know? Like, I tell people and I tell my kids, listen, sons and daughters, I just want you lot to be better than I was. I just want you to be better. You know what? In fact, I don't even want you to even use your first chance. I'm here sitting here with us, thanking God for my second, third, and maybe 3.5. I didn't quite need the fourth one. So I just want everyone to be better, you know. I can go on about this, that, but I'm not here for that. I'm just trying to give you options, you know. There's a lot of us that are not in the game no more. We found that exit plan. But not everyone is ready to share the exit plan with you. So I'm trying to share this exit plan with you. There's more to life. If you focus on your life, there's more things that you could do with your life. Your life doesn't have to be about repping anything. Rep your family. Rep yourself. Make yourself proud. The man that you're trying to be out there will never be the man that you could be if you just focused on you. Better yourself. The man that the street cred I earned growing up is nothing to the credit that I have now. That man was blacklisted on all platforms, even to get a common mobile phone. I couldn't even get a mobile phone. Now I can get as many as I like. The change is powerful. It's like, I feel like I've just traded them old shoes and put on some shoes that I deserve to walk in. Shoes that walk with purpose. Yes, it comes at a price, because no matter when you change your life, you still have demons. Yes, you're gonna have that, because look, a smoker gives up smoke. It don't just happen overnight. Remember, when you're in the game and we're in it for a long period, it becomes an addiction. It becomes an addiction. So walking away is like the therapy. It's like focusing on yourself becomes the therapy, because you need to talk to yourself. Give yourself reasons to get out of the game. Anybody that is really in the game, you've seen so much in your life that you shouldn't even want to be in the game. You should have seen so much focusing on bodies, focusing on funerals, focusing on parents crying, focusing on yourself, how many close scrapes that you have. That why would you want to put yourself back on that same pavement that don't even respect you? Why would you want to put yourself back on the same pavement that don't even respect you? Repping the block that doesn't care about you. You know? You get a job, you get credit from the right people. I've never been loved so much now that I have a job and I'm doing things like the right way. It's opened up doors to people I would never even dream of sitting next to in life. The opportunities that I'm getting to sit down with people's parents that maybe 20 years ago they would have crossed the road. They wouldn't even know. My kid can't speak to them. I've still got people that chat nonsense about me and like they judge me on my past. That's fine. Because I was a man that used to walk with 4 knuckles, so it's okay. I gave them reasons to judge me. But now, I only have one number. And that number only gets through is only given out to people that are like-minded. People that are on the same wave. You know, I spent so much of my life just trying to build a team of, you know, what I thought was solid people. only to realise that, like, I'm going to end up spending so much of my life burying so much of the same solid people. All these solid people sitting at the funerals there, as tough as I was, like, you can't cry, you can't cry, you can't cry. Like, I've been holding tears for nearly 30 years. I didn't cry at funerals, but I've been holding tears for nearly 30 years. Now, when I sit down and I think about them now, it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like I said before, it's like, I miss sitting down with some of my friends. I miss sitting down with some of my cousins. You know? We used to have good days, but we could have still been having good days if I'd have just said, come on. Even myself, if we'd have just said to each other, just let's enough's enough now. You know? Just sitting there, just me, one. And look, I got new friends. Got some of the old ones, but I got a lot of new friends now. And it's like, rah, you do all of that just to find yourself in a better position. But the thing is, around different people. I got a lot of friends that I grew up with that we still kick it with. But some of them are still walking in like trainers, battling with it. So it's a conversation we can chill, but I can't really be out there with them because, you know, I know the game. Guilty by association, you get caught with the wrong thing. That's not my life no more. That's not my life no more. I love my life too much now. I was lucky enough to get chance after chance after chance. After getting hit up, I'm lucky to be here, and I'm not testing God no more. I'm not testing him because he's not going to be my shield forever. At some point, he's going to blow the whistle and say, Frank, listen, you've got to come off now. And I'm not ready for that yet. I've still got my kids to grow. I've still got more years to show mummy that how reformed I am. I've dodged so many graveyard shifts just to get here. I lost my brother August 28th last year. As I've said before, like, everything I've done in life conditioned me for, like nothing could break me. This thing snapped me in half, beat at me. Every stab, every shot, everything that I've been through in life, it just came back like that one day. The pain was immense. It was immense. And I realised, like, bro, I'm not that guy, you know. It made me realise how much I don't really want to be that guy, because my brother died natural causes. But imagine if it had been something different. How would I have lived with myself after everything I've done in my life and everything I've exposed them to? Oh, you know, that's how I feel about my boys when they're dying. Like, I just like, but this is my brother. He died naturally, and like, I built myself up to be that guy, bro, and like it tore me apart. Now that's another name I have to add to the memory bank. I've got more contacts in the grave than I have outside. I know a lot of people, but there's not a lot of people that can get close to me. But a lot of my close people are in the grave. losing my brother made me realise that I need to stay on this journey. And my biggest regret is that he didn't get to see me change for long enough. He was my biggest supporter, always saw the good in me when everyone only saw bad. But change, sometimes it's good, but it doesn't come at the right time. Sometimes it can't come at the right time, and like, you just can't change that. My brother embraced me, he was so proud of me in the change. It gave me that belief, because one person who never really judged me, and like, it was like oxygen for me, gave me the extra reason to keep going. Sometimes when I used to dabble with the idea, like things could be low, you dabble with ideas, my brother always he just knew what to say. I just wish I'd have I'm just happy he got to see a better side of me, but the thing is, it just wasn't long enough. He spent a lot of his life just helping correct me. When he was my little brother, he just meant to just be my little brother, He loved me, but his love came at a price because he's always looking out for me at the same time. So there's people out there that could probably relate to what I'm saying now, whether it be siblings or close friends. Like, we've got to put our focus in the right places, man. Focus is key, man. Respect yourselves. Come on, people. Love yourself enough. Alright? Focus.